The Gulf of Mexico is kind of close to my heart because I spent 5 years down there after college before I came to work at Samuel's back in 1989. The Gulf of Mexico at that time was kind of an unknown entity to people up in the Northeast. I always say we introduced the product to a lot of the people up here, but we did. One of the products that was abundant was the tilefish, and that was being captured off the canyons off of Florida. Tilefish not only in the Gulf, but also all along the East Coast is a fishery that was regenerated. Back in the 70s off the East Coast of the U.S., the tilefish fishery was quite productive, and it was a targeted and a very desirable fish. Restaurants were marketing that product as a poor man's lobster. Tilefish is a very thick, meaty, very mild yet tender fish that lends itself to many, many different preparations.
So, Chef, you're getting the sea beans ready?
Yep.
Can I ask you a quick question about them?
Sure. I got chanterelles right now, man.
Are they also good for your heart?
Absolutely.
All right. All right.
Sea beans are, as long as you don't eat too many of them and get too much sodium in your system, you're all good.
It's good. It's good to hear.
Yep.
We're here again with Chef Davis. How are you doing today, Chef?
All right. How are you today?
Fantastic. Why don't you tell us about what we're doing today?
We're going to be cooking a little bit of tilefish. First, we're going to take the fish that we had butchered earlier, and I'm going to cut a couple portions out of it. So we have these beautiful sides here. I'm just going to square this off in one portion here. These will be about 6 ounces. And leave the skin on. The skin can be on or off. The skin crisps up nicely on any bass family fish, and tilefish is in the bass family. So we have some nice even fillets here.
Awesome.
And the portions are ready to go.
Fantastic.
Because of the popularity of fish and the lack of regulations at the time, the product was over-harvested and the fishery was in a state of demise, so they shut it down for a number of years during the 80s. During the early 90s, the National Marine Fisheries Service deemed that the fishery was healthy enough to allow some harvesting of the product. During that process, they gave out permits to certain boats and certain producers to fish in certain areas for the product. We could only have tilefish maybe 25% of the year. Because of the process that the National Marine Fisheries instituted, we have tilefish that is available probably 90% of the time throughout the year because the fisheries themselves have regenerated to a level that there's a safe, responsible harvest.
All right, chanterelles.
That was good.
Is that some kind of French pop group?
Not quite.
What is it, Chef?
They are a wild mushroom. They're a beautiful yellow wild mushroom found in temperate areas. They're found all over the United States and Europe. Beautiful, nice brown mushroom. It's got a really nice, full, piney flavor to it. So I'm going to season up here with a little bit of salt and pepper.
Now, is it important when you're doing the fish to take it right from the refrigerator, or do you leave it out to come to room temperature?
I can leave it to come up to room temperature for about an hour. I wouldn't leave anything out for more than an hour.
Okay.
But I generally want it to come up a little bit because things will cook more evenly if they're at a more stable temperature. So now that I have salt and pepper on the skin side of this, I'm going to put the fish in on the skin side. And I'm actually going to let this sit in the steel pan, and I actually want that skin to stick a little bit. That's going to help facilitate browning of the skin. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. It's going to facilitate browning of the skin and the crispiness. I'm also going to keep this oil moving a little bit. That's going to help as well. I do just want to press down the fillets, make sure that my skin is in contact with the bottom of the pan the entire time. Once you have it set, you should be good. But sometimes when you first put it in, that skin curls up a little bit and you have to give it a little push. Second pan is that temperature I'm looking for. My butter solids are browned up. I'm going to add in my mushrooms that I've cut down. These are chanterelle mushrooms. I just sliced them in half. I have to give them fresh. I'm going to season these up with some salt and pepper.
I know we're using chanterelles today, but can we use another mushroom?
We can really use any mushroom.
Tilefish?
Any mushroom is going to go with tilefish. Tilefish has a nice mild flavor, and it cooks up nicely with a nice flake to it. You notice that this oil is starting to get a little bit brown in here. That's okay. That doesn't matter. It's not going to affect the flavor of the fish. So you can turn it down a touch more.
How much are you cooking it on this side?
I'm looking to have the skin fully cooked and a nice brown on the top of it. I'm looking for this to be about 60 to 70% cooked by the time I turn it. Okay? So we're actually going to take a look now. What we're looking for is dark edges around. Any of the corners that are sitting in the oil have two surface contacts of the oil instead of one. So they're going to be a little bit darker than the middle of this fillet. So as I turn this, you'll see that the edges are darker than the center. But I got a nice crisp on the skin. I got a nice color on it. Nice sear all the way around. Let's keep moving these mushrooms around.
And
I'm turning the heat down on this so we can finish cooking through on this side. And it's only going to take a few more minutes now to finish cooking through here.
Oh, that's
I'm going to put this off to the side, let it rest, move my mushrooms up to make sure we don't overcook these. These are getting a nice color on them as well. Shut that burner off. Before I go to plating, I'm going to take these mushrooms and we'll drain them on a little bit of a paper towel here. Beautiful chanterelle mushrooms are nice and caramelized up here. Mushrooms are a wonderful thing. Once they caramelize, it really increases the flavor of them.
So that's what you're looking for to bring the flavor out on it.
And we're going to let these fillets rest for a couple minutes here, and then I'll plate up.
There's only 4 fisheries in the U.S. that produce tilefish. We're fortunate enough to have good relationships with these production companies, and that is one of the reasons that we can have product 90 to 95% of the time. Places that we get tilefish, the fisheries that they emanate from, the most northern one is Montauk, New York. We get product out of there. We also get product from Viking Village, which is less than 90 miles away in Barnegat Lake, New Jersey. Another place is Fort Pierce, Florida. And then the final fishery is in Panama City, Florida. These are all companies that we've dealt with for over 20 years, and they produce a very high quality product and allows us to have our product on a consistent basis.
What's up with the sea beans too? That's I know we talked about them being good for your heart, but
Yeah, sea beans are a nice crunchy vegetable. They have a nice saltiness to them. They are grown on the shore. They're generally foraged instead of just grown. And they come out really nice. They add a nice salty, crunchy balance to whatever you're serving, especially fish. One fillet on the plate. I'm going to hit it with a few chanterelle mushrooms. I'm basically going to go around so I can sauce the our sauce. The sauce I'm using today is a sea bean chimichurri. So I've taken sea beans, parsley, basil, a little bit of thyme, some hot pepper, olive oil, and a little bit of rice wine vinegar. Rice wine vinegar, lemon, and a touch of lime for the acids, and then filled it up basically the rest of the way with olive oil. So I'm just going to sauce this a little bit on the plate, a little bit over the fish, so we can still see that fish. Let it run down on the plate. We'll sauce around. And then we're going to finish the plate with a touch of sea bean garnish on top.
Ooh, I love sea beans. Are they actually a legume?
They are not a legume.